how many of you would say that it's easier to give than it is to receive? Why is it easier to give a gift? Let's say it's a gift. Why is it easier to give a gift than it is to receive a gift? Now, there's some people who seem like they have no problem receiving gifts. In fact, they want more, But there are some people who have a hard time receiving a gift. If that's true of you, why is it harder, do you think, to receive a gift from someone than to give a gift? Why do you think that is?
You got to give something back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where does that come from? Why do we feel like, okay, I have to give something back now? Where does that come from? Huh? Yeah, maybe you feel unworthy. You don't feel like you deserve it. Yeah, that's true. You know what? Here's a theory. Because I've had a hard time receiving before. I think sometimes it's a control issue. When I give, who's in control? I am. But when I receive, who's in control? Not me, man, because it takes grace to receive. I'm out of control. They're in control, God's in control, but I'm not in control at that point. So sometimes I think it could be a control issue. Now, some people are selfish, and they're not good givers because they're selfish, Well, Jesus wants to set them free from being selfish so that they could give and receive. And that's really what it is. If a person has a hard time giving or a hard time receiving, it's because they're being selfish. Really, you're focused on you instead of on God. Does that make sense? And sometimes God uses people to love us. Sometimes God uses people to bless us. And sometimes we want to do all the blessing. Well, I just have to surrender my pride. And that's what's neat about being part of a church family, is that there should be a mutual giving and receiving, so it helps you get over yourself. So that you can give and receive without pride, without feeling inadequate. You could just give and receive in a spirit of humility, a spirit of Christ-likeness. So that's what's neat about being part of a church family, is you could learn how to give and receive and be free from pride, be free from selfishness. Humility is connected to happiness because it reduces stress. Humble people take themselves less seriously than those who aren't. They don't always have to be right. They don't always have to be polishing their image. They're at peace. So it reduces stress. But also, humility relaxes relationships. Pride wrecks relationships. Pride wrecks relationships. When a person always has to control a relationship or be selfish or always has to be their way or the highway, it wrecks relationships. The words that a humble person uses are words like, I'm sorry, I'm wrong, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Or how about, God, I'm grateful for the abundant life I have in Christ. Thank you for dying for me to pay for my sins so that I can go free. A humble person, they're grateful, they're thankful, they're free. Psalms 139, 23 through 24 says, search me, O Lord, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there be any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way of everlasting.